Hello everyone, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks video, and today I am excited to try and explain update 1.10 to you. This video is supposed to be more of an overview about all the features which are going to have in Common Test 1 in the first iteration of CT. And one thing I already can take away is it is absolutely insane how big 1.10 will most likely be. It definitely looks like Wargaming was doing their homework and finally we are getting all the promised things from like 6 months of Supertest really. And it is probably the biggest update in World of Tanks history. So yeah, let's jump right in and have a look at the table of contents. We're going to have a quick look at Pearl River, which is coming finally back. We're going to have a look at the vehicle rebalancing, going over the different things and so on. Battle communication, revamped bond mechanics, and freaking Steel Hunter. I'm so looking forward to this. Like, this game mode is it is to me personally so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to playing it again. And from what I've read already, it looks very interesting and a lot more fun, as there is also a new map, my dudes. Now, let's have a look at Pearl River. I'm sorry for the loud music. This is what I took from the article itself. And in the end, Pearl River is or used to be a very corridor-like map. And a lot of people didn't like it because of that. And this was the main reason it being removed. Now, my dudes, Wargaming finally decided to open up the map a little bit. Obviously, from just pictures, it's hard to judge. But especially one of the hard corridors on the left-hand side was completely opened up. So was the middle positions. And this is very, very cool. Maybe the map will be bad in the beginning. Maybe it will be a little bit like Berlin, where I have to say I'm not the biggest fan of it. But then again, it is finally again a new map in World of Tanks. And this is something the game desperately needs. We are constantly always playing the same maps over and over and over and over. But once again, I do have to point out that the people which are working in the art department and in the 3D department, the map on the pictures itself and on the video itself looks gorgeous. Like, very well done and kudos. Now let's just hope that it's not only form follows function, but that it definitely looks as good as it will, so that it also will play good. It is a very interesting map and I was really looking forward to playing this map again. If you want to see the full video, you can watch it obviously on the news article. Now let's work on the vehicle rebalancing, because like 1.10 is the biggest rebalancing update ever, and it's something which I personally also, what should I say, I did really see that coming, to be honest. Sadly enough, I saw that coming, that Wargaming is going to punch every single Supertest changes into one update, and here we are. We are going to get the EBR rebalancing in 1.10. And again, 1.10 is supposed to hit at early August. Just saying. Wargaming has a tight schedule. 20 days, basically. But yeah, the hits to the wheels will lower the speed much more and much more significantly for all wheeled tanks. This means this is a mechanic change and will also include the EBR 75 FL10 to my knowledge. They also changed the gun characteristics of the tier 9 and the tier 10 vehicle, but those are not that big. Again, I went more in depth in the video and I will go more in depth in a different video for update 1.10, because maybe there was some more changes in the Supertest. Point is, and this is the biggest change, you can see as soon as you get hit in your wheels or two hit in your wheels, you can see that this is where you are at the same point where the EBR from 1.9.1 is. This is quite a big difference in distance when you are getting hit, meaning that if you're getting hit, you have to watch out what you are doing, and will most likely also stop the EBRs of being that dominant in Clan Wars, for example, or in competitive game modes. Imagine we are most of the time playing open maps like Proko, Mali, or even Murwanka with 4 EBRs, and we saw people which are playing 5 or even 6 EBRs. I think even the kills are used a 6 EBR strategy, just because you have this still a very strong ability to just YOLO rush someone and be a menace to anyone. So yeah, this update may or may not bring some cooldown to the EBRs. Then the Progettos, some people which don't understanding this, the Progettos is getting nerfed. I personally can see where they are coming from. The biggest thing is that they removed the tank gun rammer for the tier 8 and tier 10 vehicle, which is a main mechanic change, which means it should apply to the premium Progetto as well. They also lowered the accuracy and dispersion after shooting, which is, in my opinion, a good move. Like, this is the best move in the right direction to kind of ease down and how devastating or how easy Progettos are to play. Where you can just, well, you know, just clip somebody without any repercussions and still have a decent idea or a decent reload after that to put out another shot. Like, this is the main advantage of the Progettos, and it's a huge advantage, which means it's easy to play and hard to master. But actually, it's not that hard to master, in my personal opinion. But yeah, I do not really understand the tank and rammer change, but lowered accuracy and dispersion after shooting is definitely something which I would have done as well. I may or may not have lengthened the time between clips, to be honest, or shooting between clips, but that's my personal opinion. Longer aim time and longer turret traverse is kind of weird. The aim time is okay, the turret traverse a little bit awkward in general. Now, for 40U will also gets also some nerfs, especially for the 430 and the 430U, that's it. They worsened the cupola armor for the 430U, while they also nerfed the dispersion during move and turret traverse for the 430 and the 430U. Here it's important to know how thick the cupola will be. Sadly, I do not know that at this point. Again, I'm still waiting for Game Models 3D to update their website. And again, I'm going to go more in depth in a specific video about the 430U. Case in point, if the cupolas still stay at 220 millimeters of effective armor, how was that even a nerf? From not being able to penetrate to barely penetrating. Boys and girls, the cupolas are weak spots. They are supposed to be weak. And imagine, if the cupola is still around 270, 220 millimeters of effective armor as they proposed before. Is this really a weak spot? Really? And point is, this is better than most other tier 10 tanks have on their cupolas. Isn't that a little bit dumb? But personal opinion. Now, let's go to the buffs of the different tank lines. The first one being the E100, and most importantly for the E100 and in general the whole tree from Tiger 2 to E100 on. There will be better frontal turret armor, and it's not by a little as far as I know, which is very strong. So still, E100 will get penetrated with premium rounds through the frontal turret, but only if you are facing directly at them. This turret front buff will be very, very important for you to angle properly, because at the given moment, and I know it after free marking the E100, everybody still has a 50 to 70% chance of penetrating your frontal turret, even though you're angled with premium rounds, which is kind of stupid. It takes away of the skill of learning angling and such. They also gave basically to every single gun, except for the 15cm gun, a higher alpha. For example, the 88.8cm L71 gun gets 240 to 280. The I think the 10.5cm gun goes from 320 to 360. That I'm not sure though. But what I do know is the 12.8cm gun of the E75 and the E100 is going from 490 to 530. Which is a decent buff if you imagine that there was no nerf in reload time for the E75 nor the E100. So now you actually do have a pretty decent alternative to the 15cm gun on the E100. It basically gives you a DPM variant compared to the normal E100's Alpha Strike variant. Obviously, premium penetration will still suck on the 12.8cm gun, but that's fine. And yeah, more HPs for tier 8 and tier 9 vehicles. Very interesting buff. I'll be looking forward to that one. IS-4 probably gets the biggest buff in the whole rebalancing. And some people even said, well, IS-4 will most likely be the 279 2.0. Especially with the turret armor buff and apparently also frontal hull armor buff. Yikes. But yeah. There is better turret armor across the board, meaning IS-4, ST-1, KV-4 and KV-3 are all getting better frontal turret armor, which is understandable. I do want to point out though that maybe Wargaming should also include the KV-4 Kreslavsky, because the turret armor is trash. 180mm, everybody's shooting through it with standard rounds. That's not that fun. The cupola is great on the KV-4 Kreslavsky, so is on the KV-4. But again, just smacking you through the gun mantlet is kind of annoying when it's just standard rounds from an equal tiered heavy tank. There are better aim times and accuracies on the move across the board, better penetration rates on the stock gun, meaning that you will not be as useless anymore when you are a stock tank, and there is more DPM as well. However, accuracy did take an hit on the IS-4 because Wargaming didn't want to make it too accurate. Issue will still be that the IS-4 has very little rounds, so I'll be most likely giving that as a feedback. The T110E5 is also getting a rebalancing, and the 105mm gun of the T32 and the M103 are going to get a rebalancing in the new name, meaning it has more penetration. Point will be that the T29 and the T32 will still have to try and will have probably new modules where you have to grind some more. So this is actually a little victory for Wargaming as it is a victory for the player. However, the penetration rates look pretty decent. Amazing stuff is the M103 turret got better armor, both turrets, like the stock and the top turret, better dispersion and better DPM, where meanwhile the T110E5 gets better hull armor, dispersion and DPM. Here I do want to point out Wargaming, don't give always DPM. The T110E5 or the M103 line in general does need a little bit more mobility. Make them a little bit like the Renegade. So many people said it, even in the Q&A in America, they said, hey, why don't make the T110E5 like the Renegade? They said, oh yeah, we passed it on now to the balancing department, and it just got ignored. At least that's what it looked like. Because 12 km per hour reverse speed and 48 km top speed is just too little to distinguish the T110E5 from the Super Conqueror. In the end, the Super Conqueror will still be the better choice in most situations, because the T110E5 simply cannot cut it with its only marginal better mobility. So, also, some things got added for Supertesters. The T77, meaning it will be very soon ready, and the CS52, the first Polish Tier 8 premium medium tank in the game. However, there are speculations on What Express that that the Polish line will be coming with this update as well. But that's just pure speculation. They said at August, beginning of August, the Polish line will come with update 1.10. We'll be looking forward to it. Will be the first time that Wargaming does not release a premium tank before, or well, no, not the first time, but they just release it before a new, usually they release a premium tank before the new line, to try and get sales on, to try and make some hype, to try and give us the ability to grind the crew, you know. But this time it isn't that, apparently. But we'll see. We'll see. We will see. Next up, we have battle communication. Already was an article. I quickly want to gloss over it. Basically, they revamped you don't have quadrants you can ping anymore. You can use actually your different mouse buttons to do different pings, which is very, very cool. And those pings are 3D, meaning they will show in the middle of the map or of the playable map, which is very, very cool. You will be able to say, for example, hey, attention to this position. I'm driving to this position, and people could say, yeah, I'm driving to this position as well. Then if you're shooting at an enemy, like requesting fire or attacking target, you can see how many other people are using that battle communication as well, which is very, very cool and might actually be helpful in competitive scenarios when you're seeing like 10 people are trying to attack this target, which is very, very, very cool. And there are other more things where it goes like, I'll help you, I'm going for you, thank you very much, and so on. This is the common rows. You will activate it by just keeping the T button pressed, which is very, very cool. However, we sadly are going to lose affirmative and negative. I don't understand why exactly this was necessary to lose those, because we used that sometimes in competitive games where we said, hey, player XY Epsilon is going to this position, XY Epsilon is going to this position, and they say affirmative, And we know they understood that as a field commander. However, in overall, the battle communication looks great and I look forward to use it. Then there is a revamp in the bond mechanics. Now you will be able to get per tier 10 vehicle per week 50 bonds at maximum. And it will be for every single game you're playing in a tier 10 vehicle, not just tier 10 only, because at the moment you only got bonds when it was tier 10 only, and if you got some achievements. I dislike that Wargaming is taking away the achievement stuff, because it was just cool when you made an achievement and you got an additional small bonus as well. Now you will just get 7 bonds for a victory if you're top 3, and 5 if you're losing, and 5 bonds if you're top 10 in XP in winning, and 3 bonds if you're losing. And again, it's kind of like the battle pass where you have this maximum numbers you can get, which is again 50 per week per tank. As you can, for example, see right here, the i7 already has 28 from 50. Yeah, it's an okay-ish change. However, I personally think Wargaming should keep giving us the opportunity to get bonds through achievements. Because again, it's an achievement. And you got something unique for it, not just a medal. Which is cool in my opinion. Again, that's just my personal opinion, but let's just do it. Especially as you start to put in more and more stuff for bonds, like 20,000 for the Kampfpanzer 50T, 10,000 for the Progetto skin. And second to last, Steel Hunter. Oh boy, we are going to get some feisty stuff here. We're getting 2 new tanks, 1 French and 1 British tank. Now we have 5 different tanks we can play with unique abilities which try to emphasize on their tanks. However, apparently there will be less upgrades only on tier 7 instead of tier 8. But yeah, the American and the German tanks will be more defensively, the British and Soviet vehicles will be suited for attacking and hunting, and the French tank will perform best as a scout. Again, each of the 5 available tanks can be upgraded from tier 1 to tier 7. They have an own set of ability. Some ability will come with another will be unique to specific tanks. We're going to discuss them in a separate video about the mode when I was able to try it out a little bit. They simplified the progression. Instead of 25 ranks, you just need 15 ranks. And this time, you will not lose any progression if you are, well, performing poorly. That is great. Like, this really looks like a freaking fun mode. And it just, to me personally, reading the article and stuff like this and trying to take out the most important information, it really does look like Wargaming learned so much from last Steel Hunter and really doubled down and make it look like an amazing mode. This is just me reading through the article, and again, I'm a little bit hyped, so I might be wrong, who knows. And we're going to get a new card called Arzagir 404. Oh boy. That thing looks amazing. Like, just from the looks from above, this map looks amazing. Like, very good for a Steel Hunter mode. It's hard to judge, but I kind of wish I could use this map in another game mode. Like maybe, I don't know, a team deathmatch or something. It looks cool. Like you have up here, you have hilly mountains with ravines. You have this huge ravine in the middle with apparently a ship being stranded right dab in the middle. You have a city over here with fighting space. You have a city over here. You have open fields. You have twisting turns. Like, this map looks amazing. And I kind of just already wish we could use it in another game mode, not just Steel Hunter. Like, this map may or may not be amazing for the very old Domination game mode or something like this. Or, I don't know, something like, I don't really, maybe for a smaller version of Frontline, I don't know. Like, for example, it's hard to judge, but like a rush game mode of of Battlefield, for example, where you have, for example, a base here, a base here, and a base here, and the attackers are coming from like this and this and this or something like that. Like a toned down version of Frontline, something like that. It looks like a very, 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 very cool map, and I'm very much looking forward to playing this. And lastly, there will be the balancing changes to Cliff, Prokhorovka, apparently Berlin, which we do not know yet what they are, and Ruinberg. And I discussed those changes quite a lot already. Sadly, we do not get the Empire's border changes just yet, but Cliff and Proko and Ruinberg are already here. Empire's border was very, very new. I will be interested to see which version Wargaming decided to pick for Ruinberg. But, boys, that's it. I know that the video was twice as long as Wargaming's video, but I did want to go in detail a little bit more than what they did and give you some more what should I say, obviously. That's what I wanted to say. No, my personal opinions on this stuff. And in the end, I see those things in the eyes of a competitive player and a player which is not that trash at the game. And I have to say that 1.10, again, as you've probably seen already from the amount of stuff I talked about, will be the most likely the biggest update till now in World of Tanks. And it's great to see that we finally get the changes, the Supertest changes, the EBR changes, the vehicle rebalancing in general. It is great to see that we get the map changes. It's great to see that we get Steel Hunter, a new map, and more things. And apparently Polish tanks as well. We get Pearl River. Like, this update is huge, and it really makes up for what 1.9.1 was. An update which is a meme basically with the progression decals. Oh boy, I got a progression decal. It's so cool. But it looks very good so far. I'm looking forward to do more videos about each different topics, and I will hope I will be able to do them rather quickly and rather thoroughly. And this is why, if you have anything else to say, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, to always keep up to date with your latest World of Tanks stuff. Give me some feedback if there was anything which wasn't as good as you wanted it to be. Again, I did not want it to talk just from the website because it's kind of boring. And like this, I was able to kind of prepare myself a little bit with pre-editing. And so many people say I'm doing a wonderful job. And I have to say, guys, boys and girls, you are doing a wonderful job for giving me such amazing comments. It's great to be part and being a content creator for my community. And as always, thanks for watching, good luck on the battlefield, and cheers.